Roll call.
Board Member Hedrick,
Here.
Board Member Moses,
Here.
Board Member Sinclair,
Here.
Chair Panessa.
Here.
Let the record show Vice Chair Kane is excused and Board Member Basili is absent.
Thank you.
And as point of order, Chair, just as a reminder, we do allow the appellants the option of being rescheduled when there's not a full board present.
Okay. Thank you. And if I forget, please remind me at each one of the three hearings. As everybody saw, this meeting is recorded. Our first item is the acceptance of the agenda. The board can discuss and may amend the order of the agenda. And I'd like to entertain a motion and second for acceptance of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Board Secretary, can you take the vote?
Board Member Moses,
Here.
Board Member Hedrick,
Aye.
Board Member Sinclair,
Aye.
Chair Panessa.
Aye.
I meant I instead of here. I'm sorry. It wasn't.
All right. Thank
Motion
you.
carries 4-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comment. This time is set aside for members of the public to address the board on items of general interest within the subject jurisdiction of this board. Anybody that wishes to speak will have 3 minutes. And although the board values your comments, pursuant to the Brown Act, the board generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Testimony for hearings will only be taken at the time of each hearing. Board Secretary, can you begin the public comment period, please?
Bruce Hoban, you may unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to give you a couple of useful updates. As you know, probably 90% of all the appeals you have to listen to have to do with illegal rentals. And I'm pleased to be able to say we are probably days away from issuing an administrative regulation that will require all realtors selling any home in Palm Springs to have a separate, really clear, bold font disclosure, 1 page, saying that it is illegal to rent a vacation rental without a permit in Palm Springs. So at a certain point, when that gets rolled out by our Realtors Association, people can't say, I was never told. And we'll let you know when, that's out and when, sales are handling it. And the other thing is we look at, the issue of illegal rentals is the city's putting in a new software system, which still has several months to go. But in other cities now with that software, it can prevent the big sites like Airbnb or VRBO. You cannot put a listing up for less than 30 days. It won't take it. It won't let you put it up without a permit number. So we want to cut off, any homeowners who claim they don't know about the law, so that they can't ever get an ad out there without a permit. And so, my thanks to Patrick and Veronica for all their hard work, but, we're really trying to go after what we know is, your number one time is spent on these types of appeals. And we think there are ways, over the next 6 to 8 months to really cut this way down. Thank you.
Great.
Anybody else for public comment?
That concludes our list. I see no other hands.
Thank you. All right, so the next item on the agenda is item number 3. It is the appeal of the permanent ban and the administrative fine of $5,000 concerning Ronald House II and the property at 3960 East Calle San Antonio. Board Secretary, could you please ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand that their testimony is under oath?
City staff, appellants, and any other individual who desires to testify under this appeal hearing Under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge that your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Staff, could you please present your report?
Yes, good evening, Chair. Just want to let you know, it seems like I have a little bit of maybe of a glitch with my internet. So if I am glitching, I'll turn off my camera, and I apologize in advance, but just please let me know as well, and I'll take the appropriate steps.
Patrick, I apologize for interrupting you. I've already forgotten. To the appellant, we have 4 board members instead of 5. You do have the option of postponing. My understanding is, though, when there is 4, if there is a tie in the vote, the tie goes in your favor. It is absolutely your right to postpone, though.
I don't wish to postpone.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, Patrick, I apologize for that interruption, and please proceed.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, board, board members, city staff, appellants, and public on the call this evening. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance. We oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. Before you this evening is a staff report regarding the property located at 3960 East Calle San Antonio here in Palm Springs. It was determined that this property was operating in a vacation rental with the Airbnb advertisements without a registered vacation rental certificate. The elements that led to the citation issuance are in your staff report this evening. With the investigation that Code Compliance did, staff did issue administrative citation AB 0374 on March 24th, 2022 for violation of Municipal Code 52504A. The Code Officer Williams, is on the call this evening to give a little bit more detail regarding his investigation, and I would like to invite him to provide testimony this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Williams, Code Compliance Officer for the City of Palm Springs. On February 22nd, 2022 at 9:43 p.m., a lead was received through the vacation rental website that reported the property located at 3960 East Calle San Antonio were doing short-term rentals violating the City of Palm Springs Municipal Code, and that is item 3-51. The property was researched and investigated on February 23rd. Advertisement 490795556 was located on the Airbnb website. The advertisement has 23 reviews dating back to August of 2021. At that time, I sent a booking inquiry to the property host, Ron. The inquiry reads, "Good morning. I wanted to see if your house is available August 25th to August 29th. My husband and I are heading to Palm Springs for his birthday. Please let me know and I will book. Thank you, Dave." That is item 3-40. At 9:56 p.m. on February 23rd, Ron sent an automated invitation to book his property to me. As Ron did not send a personalized response, on the following day at 7:07 a.m., I sent another email to Ron through Airbnb to see if I could get a personalized response. That message read, "Good morning, and thank you for pre-approving my booking. I will book it shortly. Please let me know if you have any recommendations of places to go. Also, is the pool heat included? And will it even be needed in August? Thank you, Dave." At 8:42 a.m. on the same day, Ron replied, "You will definitely not want to heat the pool in August. Actually, by August, the pool feels like a nice bath, LOL." I replied at 3:15 p.m. "Thanks so much. I will book it at 6 o'clock when I get home from work. Thank you." At that time, I issued citation AB 0374 to the property owner for operating a vacation rental without the required vacation rental certificate. That concludes my presentation, and I am available for any questions you may have.
All right, board members, questions for the city. Start with Mr. Hedrick.
No questions on this one. Thank you.
Mr. Moses. You are muted. You're still muted. There you go.
Now I'm not muted. I have no questions.
Thank you. Mr. Sinclair.
None here.
All right, and then I just have one question, Mr. Williams. You had mentioned that you were seeking a personal response. Could you explain why that is, please?
Well, because the pre-approved booking, although it has to be sent by the host, some consider that an automated response. So I wanted to show that there was interaction with a real human being in my emails.
All right, thank you. And that's the only questions I have. Is there anything further from the city?
Nothing further from me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any member of the public who desires to speak on this appeal hearing shall have up to 3 minutes to speak. If a member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to provide a rebuttal for up to 2 additional minutes. Board Secretary, could you please begin the public testimony period?
I do believe the appellant is present in the room. Please be advised that you are still under oath when you give your testimony, and you may begin when you're ready.
Thank you. Mr. House, you have 10 minutes, please.
Thank you. First of all, I want to apologize that I'm taking up your time to do this. I've been coming to Palm Springs for many years. I've owned in Demuth Park for over 10. This is my 3rd home. I like to say we were the first Orange Door 10 years ago in Demuth. First year I was broken into 4 times. So I hope I've done some good in starting and helping to revitalize that neighborhood. So I saved for years. I renovated this house. It was never intended to be a rental. I think I finished my rental during COVID. People said you should do Airbnb. I've never done Airbnb. And so I did. And then people said, well, you got to get a permit. So a friend who also has a rental said, well, you have to get a permit. You need a house manager. And so I hired his guy. And actually, I thought it worked well for about 7-8 months, paid many thousands of dollars. He provided some sort of a little certificate. He had me pay for a fire extinguisher, little alarms on my doors going out to the pool, first aid kit, which are all there. Turned out, unfortunately, he was a meth addict. He finally just suddenly disappeared on me. And at that same time, then when I kind of took back ownership of this, I realized I was fine. So I guess I'm a bad appellant in that I'm not claiming I'm innocent. The permit was not legit, as I find out. And so, yes, I was on Airbnb. I wasn't trying to be sneaky. My address is on there. I'm just sorry. Willing to pay the fine. I think what frightened me was when I called the city after seeing I had the fine and trying to find out what was going on. It was not just the fine, but he said, and there's an automatic, like, you can never do this again. And that, I guess, is scared, because once this happened, I realized, okay, this is going to be part of my retirement plan. And I guess I'm just asking clemency. I'll get the permits. I'll pay the fine if I'm needed to, but I'm just asking, please, once I do that, can I obey the rules and use it as a short-term rental? I guess that's all I got to say.
Okay, anything further? You certainly have more time.
I don't know if there is more further.
Okay, if that is, all right, so at this point, we'll open it up to the board members to ask questions of the appellant. Why don't we start with Mr. Sinclair?
Mr. Haas, did you ever apply for a permit after the initial?
So I called, I don't know who's the guy I talked to when I called, but I said, hey, I have my application. But as soon as I found out I was fine, I printed it all out. I signed it, said, I'm coming to the desert this weekend to submit it. He said, hold on, you don't need to come. I suggest that you first do the appeal process, which what I didn't know was an option. And that's why this actually happened. So he said, you don't need to come out. You need to, I suggest you find the appeal stuff and go through that process first. So that's why I'm here. But I have done it. I have filled it all out and I'm ready. But he said, you know, don't submit it. You need to do this first, or you should.
Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Sinclair?
No,
Thank you. Mr. Moses,
No,
Mr. Hedrick.
No,
I have a couple of questions. So you said you had a property manager. Did you pay? Did you think you paid for the permit?
Yeah, I mean, I paid him, I could show you my Wells Fargo's. I paid him thousands of dollars. He was the property manager, so he just billed me a couple times a week saying I need reimbursement for this, I need reimbursement for that, the house cleaner. So, you know, over from August, when I think I started, to, I don't know, maybe February, March, when he suddenly was not reachable, and my neighbors, I had to check to go over. He was living in the place. It was a mess. I paid a lot of money. Yes, I
Okay.
thought
But you thought you paid, do you know what you would have paid for the permit?
I have to go back to the records. I think he said the permit was like $2,300. If I remember, because I thought it was a lot of money, but
Okay, that's actually like 3 times what the permit is, but, or 2.5 times. And then, so through this process where either you or he were renting it, were you paying the TOT, the tax?
I'm sorry, I know, because I didn't know about that.
Okay. And then my last question
I'm
is,
willing to like pay it back, but go ahead.
okay, my last question is regarding the Airbnb ad. Who put it up? Did he put it up or did you put it up?
Well, I wrote it and posted the pictures.
Okay, so the ad is actually like the inquiries went to you. You built the ad.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any board members have anything else they'd like to ask the appellant? Okay, not seeing any hands. So we're going to close the open part of the appeal hearing, and then this time let's set aside for the board to discuss what both sides have presented. Before I do that, Patrick, do you have anything the city would like to add? And you are muted.
Thank you. Nothing further. I did check our records to see if possible an application came in at some point. I didn't see a record of it, at least on a pending or a master list, but just wanted to state that. So
Thank you. All right. So at this point, the board will discuss what we've heard from both sides. Comments for discussion. Let's start with Mr. Hedrick.
unfortunately, I think the homeowner has gotten a raw deal, but I don't know how to correct that. So I have no additional comments.
Okay. Mr. Moses?
I feel the same way.
Mr. Sinclair?
yeah, this is pretty much an admission and it's, I mean, I'm curious as to why more investigation wasn't done by the appellant in terms of the TOT and the Airbnb and looking at regulations. So I think this is pretty easy.
Okay. I guess from my perspective, it's one of those very unfortunate situations of which we've had many cases like this, where somebody unfortunately gets a very poor manager, and it's unfortunate that this person was recommended but still did such a terrible job. But unfortunately, the way the ordinance is written, that doesn't absolve the owner. So, all right. Any other comments from the board? Can we get a motion and a second, please?
I hate to do it. I move that we uphold the fine and the penalty.
Second,
Thank you. Board Secretary, could you please call the vote?
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Sinclair,
aye,
Board Member Hedrick,
Aye.
Chair Panessa.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 to uphold.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your time and effort on this case. And to the appellant, we just let you know the city will contact you in an official manner about this. However, you should know that while you will not be allowed to rent short-term, that does not prohibit you from renting long-term, which is anything, I believe, over 28 nights. So you do still have that ability. It is just the city then prohibits short-term.
Thank you.
And they'll be happy to work out a payment plan if it's a problem
Yes, thank
for the
you.
5,000.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone, for your time and effort on this case. We're going to move on to item number 4 on the agenda, and that is concerning the property at 1380 North Indian Canyon Drive. It is the appeal of the $5,000 fine and the administrative decision that John Feike, I'm assuming, I apologize if I'm not saying that right, is permanently ineligible to operate a vacation rental in the city of Palm Springs. Board Secretary, can you ensure that the city staff and the appellant understand that their testimony is under oath?
City staff, appellants, and any other individual who desires to testify under this appeal hearing under the laws of perjury, if you choose to speak, you hereby accept and acknowledge your testimony shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please begin your testimony by stating your name.
Thanks, I do.
Thank you. So first, I'm sorry, is the appellant on this call? Okay, is that you waving your hand? Okay, thank you. I just want to, before the city presents their report, because we have 4 members, not 5 of the board, again, you have the option of postponing, but when there is an even number, as in this case, if there is a tie, the tie goes in your favor, but it is absolutely your right to postpone if you wish to. Would you like to proceed or postpone? And you are muted, so please unmute to answer.
Sorry about that. I would like to proceed, please.
Thank you. All right, and at that point then, staff, please present your report.
Thanks. Good evening, Chair, board members, city staff, appellants, public on the call this evening. My name is Patrick Clifford with the Department of Special Program Compliance. We oversee the vacation rental program here in the city of Palm Springs. This evening before you is a staff report regarding the property located at 1380 North Indian Canyon here in Palm Springs. Staff has found that a reservation confirmation as well as advertisement and inquiry information from an investigation from code officers was in violation of the Palm Springs Municipal Code 5.25040A. The elements that led to the issuance of the citation are in your staff report. And with the violations that was found, administrative citation AB 0376 was issued on April 7th, 2022. The code officer that did the investigation and issued the citation is on the call this evening, and I would like to invite Code Officer Williams to further provide testimony. Thank you.
Officer Williams, you are muted. Thank you.
Good evening. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
On April 6th, a lead was hand-delivered to the Department of Special Program Compliance that reported a listing on VRBO that was not in compliance. The lead also included the advertisement number, which was 1799872, and that is item 4-33 of your packets. The ad described the property as a 1,690 square foot villa that is 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom with 2 beds that sleeps 4 people. It should also be noted that this property is, after doing a check of title, it was found that this property is an apartment building, so there is no way a permit would have been issued.
I'm sorry, Mr. Williams, could you repeat that, please?
This property is a 4-unit apartment building, and that makes it ineligible from being part of the vacation rental program.
Oh, okay.
On April 7th, I sent a booking inquiry to the property host, John, at 9:50 a.m. In the inquiry, I asked John if the home was available for the dates of June 9th to the 16th, as my husband and I would be in Palm Springs for our anniversary. That is on page 4-50 in your packet. Approximately 1 hour later, the host approved the booking and sent an automated reply inviting me to book the property for the requested dates. As there was not a personalized response from the property owner, I sent an additional email through VRBO that reads, "Hi, John, thanks so much for getting back to me and pre-approving the booking. I will be booking it as soon as I get home from work this afternoon. Just wanted to check to see if there are any other fees, like is the pool heat extra? Please let me know. Thank you, Dave." At 2:35 p.m., John replied, "Hello, absolutely not. We detest extra fees. Best regards, John." I responded shortly thereafter with, "Perfect. I will book it shortly. Thank you, Dave." At that time, I issued citation AB 0376 to the property owner for the violation. And that concludes my presentation. I am available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Anything more from the city?
Yes, Chair, just one more. On top of the investigation from Officer Williams with asking the inquiry on the ad, this lead was reported to our city at the department from a guest that supposedly stayed at the property. This item is attached as item 5 in your staff report, which I believe is page 4-21. This guest provided our office with a reservation confirmation, which is reservation 2166207573. That reservation was for the dates between April 4th, 2022 and April 11th, 2022, 7 nights with a reservation price of $1,606.43. That was delivered to our office, which I believe also started the investigation from Officer Williams. And again, that's attachment 5 in the staff report.
Thank you. All right, at this time, are there any questions from the board? I'll start with Mr. Sinclair.
None here.
Mr. Moses?
None.
Thank you. Mr. Hedrick?
None.
Okay, I just have kind of an odd question, actually 2. First off, I'm unclear as to why a building of 4 units is prohibited from getting a permit, if I understood that correctly.
Our permanent buildings are not authorized because it's taking rentals away from the community. So this is an actual apartment building.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it is actually a rental.
Yes,
Okay, so the appellant rents the unit and then somehow offered it up for rent, subletting, I guess.
that is correct.
Okay, I understand that. And then do we have any information? So I'm a little surprised that an actual renter, I assume the Airbnb renter turned the appellant in?
That is correct. Believe it or not, it happens quite a bit. People
Oh.
come in the office all the time with mostly complaints because they want a refund or they want money back because they had a bad experience. But we have had others turn in property owners as well.
Interesting. Okay, I did not know that. All right, thank you. Any board members have any other questions for the city?
No.
All right.
No.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll like to open the appeal hearing. The appellant is invited to speak for up to 10 minutes. Any member of the public who desires to speak on this appeal hearing shall have up to 3 minutes to speak. If any member of the public testifies, the appellant will be invited to speak for an additional 2 minutes. Board Secretary, can you please begin the public testimony period?
I have no registered public speakers. Mr. Feige is present in the room, and he's welcome to begin his testimony when he's ready.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Feige.
Okay, it's Fike.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hike or hike. This is an apartment building. I own the building. I bought it about 4 years ago. I don't know if you know the building. It kind of looks like a Mission. It has a bell on the outside. And I've spent a lot of money improving it along with some other properties in the desert. Built about 200 units here in San Diego, and I love the desert. This particular unit is my unit. I stay there when I'm out there. It was thrown into the mix along with other vacation rental properties we have. We had a new gal handling this, and this fell through the cracks. This was supposed to have a 28-night minimum on it. It fell through the cracks. This was not my intent. you know, anyway, it's more of a personal place. I just came back from the desert today. I'm back in San Diego. In fact, I'm working with the Palm Springs Historical Society. We found a period correct postcard of the property. It used to be called the Continental, and I'm having that refurbished and done. It was a hotel at one time called the Continental. So it was at one time, the whole building was a short-term rental. It was a hotel. In fact, it's surrounded by hotels. And it's in a commercial district zoned for hotels. So if I wanted to go through the process of doing a short-term rental for the whole building, I'm sure I could do that and make it a hotel again. That is not my intent. I want to do long-term rentals. The other units are all long-term rentals with long-term leases. Anyway, so this fell through the cracks with other, it got mixed in the bunch with other vacation rentals I have, or we have. I apologize. I know this is a pain in the neck. I understand the problem. Believe me, I understand the problem of people taking their homes or apartment buildings and wanting to cash in on this Airbnb Vrbo phenomenon. That was not my intent. It is not my intent. My intent is to bring this building back to its original grandeur. I don't know if you've noticed the improvements, but I've done quite a few improvements and continue to do so. There was a drunk driver that ran into the stop sign and tree out front. I tried to get the city out there for 2 years to fix the curb. I was going to go ahead and do it at my own expense. Then I was advised not to. They just fixed it last week. I'm going to now fix the retaining wall. You know, I've done a lot. I've worked with Michael Kovaloff, the chief of police, to clean up the area. We had some problems with some vagrants, and worked with him in his office. So I'm trying to be part of the solution in making Palm Springs a dynamic place like it is. And I'm part of the solution, not the problem. I'm just begging you to oversee this. I have no intent of registering it as a short-term rental. 28-night minimum is the way the ad reads now. It should have read that way from the very beginning. We had the gal that was handling this has since been let go. And anyway, so if you can give me a warning, I'd really appreciate it. $5,000 fine seems awfully stiff for something like this. I did not know this was being done, actually. Like I said, it was in the mix with other properties, and I didn't know it was happening. So, anyway, I love the area, and will continue to make improvements as more and more places are looked at. And I just love the area, and I'm really a huge fan and always have been. I'm from Michigan originally, came out back in the 80s, and I've been visiting the desert, and now I finally have some more reasons to go out there. So I'm really looking forward to spending more and more time out there and being a part of the community. So if I could get a warning, that would be awesome. I'd really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything further?
No. If anybody wants to stay in my owner's unit on the house, they're more than welcome. Gratis.
That's a broad.
And if you're in San Diego, I extend the offer there. I've got a place at the La Costa Resort. We've got some really cool places right on the water. I'm serious about that. I'm dead serious. So, we do a lot of charity work here in San Diego. We work with Father Joe's, helping to solve the homeless problem here. 95% of the rentals we have are all long-term. And so, that's the model.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, we'll see if the board has any questions for the appellant. And let me just go first and go on the record as saying, obviously, any of the board members accepting a gift from an appellant is completely inappropriate. So I just want to go on the record as saying that. So I have two questions. So was this unit rented short-term ever?
Evidently it was, yes.
Okay, and then on, from what I understand from the packet we've been provided, on April 6th, when the compliance officer sent you that message, it was responded to by John. Was that you?
No, it was not. That was the gal in the office here that handled the Airbnb, Verbo, and Booking.com, and I think there's a few others. But it was signed by me, or signed by John, which is, yeah, I'm John.
Okay, but
that was, you know, she had access to all the management of doing this.
And who set up the ad?
She did that as well. She was here for a while. She did a lot. She posted pictures and did a lot, but she was instructed. See, some of our rentals, most of them are some are short term, where there's no minimum, and some have 28 night or 30-day minimums. And she just, you know, devils in the details. It fell through the cracks.
Okay. Board members, questions for the appellant, Mr. Hedrick?
Yes. Do you have other vacation rental properties in Palm Springs?
No.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Moses?
I have no questions. I'll point out that I live 4 blocks away, and so right after this here, I'm going to drive over and look at the building. No, I have no.
I beg your pardon, sir?
No, I have no questions.
All right, thank you, Mr.
You know
Sinclair.
the building?
I have no questions either.
Okay. All right. So the city have anything to add?
Nothing further, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we'll close the open part of the appeal. And at this point, it'll be a time for the board members to discuss what we've heard from both sides. Mr. Sinclair, would you like to go first?
Sure. This is another one of those. It's not my fault somebody did it. And, you know, that has never worked with us. So it's a supervisory obligation to make sure things are okay with what's going on in your rentals. And so, and as you know, we don't have any leeway to have any kind of leniency, and, you know, and so I reject trying to be bribed.
Mr. Hedrick?
It wasn't a bribe. I was just being, listen, it wasn't a bribe.
Yeah, we're kidding.
I let friends stay at my places all the time, and people I barely know. That's the kind of guy I am.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hedrick, any discussion points?
I agree with Mr. Sinclair.
Okay, Mr. Moses?
I agree with Mr. Hedrick and Mr. Sinclair.
Okay, so I guess from my perspective, I think Mr. Sinclair has a good point. Regardless of who's doing it, there is some sort of people have an obligation to make sure their property is within the city limits, is handled properly or legally. And if there were other times that it was rented, you know, in theory, there should have been some income that should have been a red flag. And somehow that wasn't. And then, so I would assume since there was no permit, there was no tax paid that was owed to the city. Any other comments from any board members? Okay, can we get a motion and a second, please?
I move we uphold the fine and the penalty.
Second,
Thank you. Board Secretary, could you please call the vote?
Board Member Moses,
Aye.
Board Member Sinclair,
aye.
Board Member Hedrick,
Aye.
Chair Panessa.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0 to uphold.
All right. I'd like to thank everyone for their time and effort on this case. You will be contacted by the city. Again, this does
A
not.
great way to
preclude you
treat
from-
your new investors and residents in the city. Absolutely wonderful. I really feel welcome. Absolutely baloney.
All right. Thank you for your
A
time.
warning would
and
be
effort.
nice. A warning would be classy.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the
Mr.
next
Vice-
case. The
let me
next
speak-
case
can I speak
is
for one
the
second?
property
Can I speak
concerning
for 1 second?
2600 East Vincentia Road. And this one, I believe, has, according to my notes, has been rescheduled at the appellant's request and will not be heard tonight. So with that, we are going to move on to number 6 in the case. I'm sorry, in the agenda, and that is for board member comments. Any board members have anything they would like to comment about what's going on?
I have a question. Is this yours and Stephen's last meeting?
So I cannot speak for the city or for Stephen, but my understanding is that we are to serve until we are notified either we've been replaced or reappointed.
Right, because people go from here and we never get a chance to say thanks and goodbye. So I think you guys have both given great service over the years I've been on here with you.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
let's hope we're all still on.
I agree.
Are you-
And
I'd
Stephen's
like to
jokes.
make something about last night. We were invited, I guess, all of us to a dinner of all of the various boards and commission members and the city council, and it was a city council hearing as such. And we were not informed that we were expected to make a presentation of some kind on what we do. And so we were one of 2 that had no presentation at all. I'm not Mr. Panessa, so I'm not the one supposed to have made it anyway. But I stood up and insisted on making a brief statement, which was that I would hope that the city could, now that there's been some time for the heat of vacation rentals to calm down, that maybe we could find a way to allow us to sometimes split the baby or have some kind of leeway or freedom to act. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or from you, Mr. Hedrick?
It was a very nice dinner. Sorry that you couldn't have been there and you all couldn't have been there. And I think Mr. Moses represented the Administrative Appeals Board well.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, I was unable to attend and now I feel bad that I wasn't. I guess my only comment would be in tonight's meeting that was highly unusual to have an appellant basically offer gifts to the board members and then remind us that he was serious. So I'm hoping everybody understood that that was really inappropriate. And then, of course, his lashing out at us.
That was more appropriate.
Yeah, and oddly enough, you're right. He's entitled to certainly his own opinion. But I think I've been on this board now, has it been 4 years? I have never, ever seen somebody offer gifts to the board. And it really made me uncomfortable. And the fact that he kept reminding us that he was serious really made me uncomfortable. So I'm glad that was squashed. All right, and that is all I have. If nobody else has any comments from the board, the next item is the city attorney's update.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I do not have anything to add, but I'm glad that you guys didn't take him up on the bribe.
All right, thank you. And then finally on the agenda, Monique, if there is any update from the city clerk's office.
Yes, so first I'd like to apologize if any of you did not receive the invitation to the dinner last night. That was sent out to all commissioners and board members. The presentations, you did not have a presentation prepared. I did reach out to Chair Panessa, but my understanding of that meeting was that that was for boards who have ongoing programs or events to provide an update on their community engagements. And this board does not have those types of engagements. So I do apologize if there was any miscommunication on our part there. You will notice you have not had minutes on your agenda. We do have quite a bit of a backlog of city council minutes, which have taken precedence over the board minutes, but we do have a third party working on those. So your next agenda should have several sets for you to approve. As far as board vacancies, we are working on prioritizing those boards that have critical vacancies that threaten their ability to obtain a quorum. This board does not have that issue, so you are both welcome to continue serving until we can get to your vacancies in that rotation. The City Council has not advised whether they will be reappointing existing members or entertaining interviews, but I will keep you updated as we progress with that process. And then lastly,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
there was nothing else.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Do we need to let anyone know if we would like to be reappointed or replaced, or do we wait for the city council to take up the issue?
Typically, you would submit a new application, and I think Mr. Moses has done that. So if you are interested in continuing to serve, I would advise you to visit the website and submit an application. And then we will make note of that when we present our update to the City Council and request their guidance.
Thank you.
Can I say one more thing? Is that Veronica? I don't see her.
That was Monique speaking.
Monique, oh, okay. I didn't mean to be critical of the clerk's office for not telling us to prepare a presentation. We were the second thing called. I didn't have a chance to see what was going on, and I thought I ought to say something.
No, of course, you're always welcome to share. I just wanted to be clear, you were not left out intentionally. It was just a miss.
Mr. Hedrick,
But
you were waving.
your next
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Your next meeting is scheduled for July 27th. One thing we did not address when we adopted the AAB schedule is a summer break. And so typically the City Council takes a month and goes dark without any public meetings. That is something that we can amend if that's your wishes. I don't know if anyone has vacations planned, but since we do continue to go virtual until we have a physical space that can accommodate a hybrid meeting, it's pretty accessible if that's something you're willing to continue with.
Is there a number of cases that would be heard in July?
We do have the one that's being rescheduled, and we recently received, I think, 2 or 3. So we would have a full agenda for July. The concern is usually August. But I leave that up.
Okay, I'm fine with July. If anybody has any objections, let us know. Seeing nobody, so I guess we're good for July.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Hedrick, you were waving your hand.
So are we limited to 2 terms?
You are limited to 2 terms. Well, the limit, I believe the way it's written is 7 years, and that usually is about 2 terms unless there's some sort of vacancy that's a half a term. I don't know how or if that applies to alternates, but I can look into it if that's an issue for any of you. And even with the end of those 2 terms, if you have not been replaced, you are welcome to continue serving until we can do that.
Well, I have 2 years left to go on my.
I'll be glad to swap airport with you for this board if you like.
I love both boards equally.
Great answer.
The Airport Commission is one of the hardest to get on. That's a very prestigious board.
And it's going to be one of the most exciting boards because we're starting our PSP 2040 plan.
Wow.
And the airport, just minimum growth projections will double our passengers
Wow.
to 6 million.
Jeez.
Just make sure they fix the baggage claim, Ken.
That is a high priority.
It's a mess.
It is.
Monique, anything else from you?
Nope, that's all.
All right, thank you. So this was one of our shorter meetings. If there is a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
And then it'll go silent.
thank you, everyone, for your time and effort, and we will see you next month.
Stay well.
Bye all.
Thank